All right, let's talk to Mike. He's a very famed director and producer. He's done a lot of work through the years, film and television, all sorts of stuff. I had mentioned in The Last Dance. A lot of his sports related, including movies, but it's not all sports related. He's done an awful lot through the years: Varsity Blues, Coach Carter, Arliss, The Last Dance, and much, much more. And he's got a new documentary out about the life of George Raveling. It's called Unraveling George. And, of course, George Raveling, classic college basketball figure, but also, a coach in the '84 Olympic team, instrumental in the signing of Michael Jordan and Nike, and right there when Martin Luther King gave his speech, I Have a Dream speech, in 1963. The documentary about Coach Raveling debuts tonight, and Mike Tollin joins us right now. Mike, you've never, ever, I just got to assume, have had 2 minutes waiting on hold hearing all that about you before. Good morning, Mike.
That's so good for my humility, Joe. I mean, that was beautiful. I love to be connected with Chuck. Well, he started by saying Schwartz doesn't hit any clutch homers. What game is he watching? 56 homers? Not a
Probably the playoffs, Mike.
He smashed the ball in San Diego 3 years ago, and then Rita's going to say, it was 3 years ago.
Yes, 3 years ago.
4 years ago now.
You want me to argue with Mike about this now?
Oh, Mike.
I go back, guys. I'm like, this is showing my age, but I go back to 64, guys. So I have the scars of being a little kid in the 10-game losing streak with up 6.5 with 12 to play. So, I always go in with high hopes and low expectations.
Yeah, no, well, it's funny. What you're saying resonates with me. I made this point to James earlier. Part of why I don't, for instance, give the Phillies an F is they do have a good team. I won't want them to do what the Mets did yesterday, which is get Luis Roberts, who's not, don't make changes for change's sake. Try to make smart moves. I wish they had done more, but I'm glad they didn't make desperation moves like Luis Roberts. That guy stinks.
Yeah, it's funny because they traded all their guys, right? They traded McNeil or they let go McNeil, Diaz, the polar bear. Talking about clubhouse chemistry, like who's who in that fantasy team?
For sure.
I think the thing about Bader, I know you guys have talked about it, we know we like this guy. We know he fits in. We know he's a good clubhouse guy. The guy plays great defense. I think he takes a lot of pressure off Crawford and a little platoon opportunity with Marsh. I mean, I love the Garcia pickup, but I think we need a fourth guy out there to give us a little depth. I'm hoping for it.
All right, I'm with you. I think we're all with you on that. All right, Mike, let's get to the documentary, George Raveling. So, and again, it's called Unraveling George. In a nutshell, and I know it's not easy to take a full doc and condense it down into an answer, but can you just sort of weave the amazing elements of George Raveling's life that you're trying to put into one documentary?
Let me try, Joe. You called it right. I mean, this guy is Zelig. He's freaking everywhere. I mean, Doc Rivers says, if I was like a young volunteer security guy, which is what George was in 1963 for the March on Washington, arguably the most famous speech in American history. I mean, he's right up there with JFK. So George is there as a bodyguard security guy. And MLK comes off the podium, and George sees him with the typewritten speech. And he goes, I mean, I wasn't there, so I'm just going to make up dialogue. Yo, MLK, can I have that speech? and he gives it to him.
Right.
So Doc says, we're doing an interview with Doc, and he goes, can you imagine, if I was a young guy like George and I was there with Obama when he made his big speech in Chicago, would I have the audacity to go up to him and say, can I have your speech? And more than that, would he ever think of giving it to me? No way. So this is the brilliance of George, right place, right time. There have been offers of $3 million for it, and he's not taking it. He gave it to Villanova. It's now in the Smithsonian. There's just something about his benevolence, his spirit of loyalty, integrity, and grace. Everybody loves George, and that's the thing. I started doing this doc. I'm like, nobody knows who this guy is, right? But everybody who does know him loves him. What a great way to start making a film.
So he kept that speech in a book for 26 years or something?
Yeah, you guys have been doing your research. You know the story, John? He remembered hearing from his grandma that the landowners in the slave era would put their money inside books because then they knew the slaves would never go there.
Wow.
Because they couldn't read. So he thought, the safest place, I'll put it in his library. In the film, you'll see his library. It is just and he calls his books his mistresses, right? He's like, I've read them all. And, Larry Miller, who started the Jordan brand, and all these guys, Phil Knight and all the Nike guys, they say, George would send them their books for the year. Doc said, Doc said, George would send me like 6 books. Okay, Doc, you got to read these 6 books and I'll send you more.
Wow.
There's so much in there. Like MJ, Michael says, without George Raveling, there's no Michael Jordan. The story, like the real origin of this film, I got a call from World Wide West, who now is like part of the Knicks.
Yep.
The crumbling Knicks. Yo, what's up with the Knicks? Wow.
Yeah, getting booed off their court a couple nights
Love
ago.
it.
Yeah.
Crazy. Is that the curse of the cup or what? Man,
Ooh, I like that. The curse of the cup.
Right? You got it, James. You got it. Anyway, so World Wide West calls and says, we got to tell the story of George Raveling because this movie Air came out, as you guys remember.
Yeah.
And,
Loved it.
it's very entertaining. It's Ben and Matt, of course. It's a crowd pleaser. But, like, there's one scene where Marlon Wayans has a meal or a beer with Matt Damon, and that's it, right? So you go
And Mike, you're saying
now.
Marlon Wayne's playing George Raveling. I just want to clarify for those that don't know. So
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Yep.
I'm sorry. I should go back because when Ben Affleck was starting to make the movie, he went to MJ because he didn't really want him to be a hater. He said, look, Michael, I don't need your rights, but I want a little bit of love. So, like, is there anything I should do or not do? Michael said, only 2 things. Get Viola Davis to play my mom because it's my mom's favorite, and he did, and she was awesome. And the second thing is you got to honor George Raveling. And Ben's like, who? So he did his research, and he wrote a scene, and he called Marlon Wayans. This is like 3 days before the movie. And Marlon, he says, you got to come and do the scene. So the film opens with Marlon Wayans saying, I get this call from Ben Affleck. I'm going to do the movie because I know I can't get cut out because MJ said I got to be in the movie. But then he goes, who the F is George Raveling? And that's how we start the movie because, our premise is like we're going to discover this guy for the viewer. I mean, in Philly, there are people old enough like me who remember. He played for Villanova. He coached under Jack Kraft. Guys, you don't remember. I mean, we think of the glory days of Villanova basketball as like Jay Wright, right?
Sure.
But like there was a coach named Jack Kraft, and he hired George as his assistant, and he would go into the South in the 60s when things were still very segregated. Like, remember that Kentucky-Texas Western game was like all black players against all white players. So he would go down with a suit, looking handsome and sharp, and go to places like Pompano Beach, Florida, and recruit these black players who couldn't play nearby, couldn't play in the SEC or the ACC, and bring them up to Villanova. So you guys, the one name you'll probably remember is Howard Porter. Because he got Villanova into the finals against UCLA in 71. So George was a master, and I just feel so grateful, like, to have this full circle life experience.
That's great.
To grow up with the guy who recruited my heroes. It's awesome.
That's so cool. And again, Mike Tollin with us right now. The new documentary, Unraveling George, debuts tonight on Villanova's campus. Jay Wright's going to be part of the presentation of that tonight. Mike, what can you tell us about Charles Barkley's involvement with the documentary?
Well, we did an interview with him, and he just went on about how much he loves George and how he'd be nothing without George. And he tried to buy those MLK papers from George.
Wow.
He tells this story, guys, like hard to imagine. Okay, so the Dream Team was 92, but the 84 team was when Michael first came out of UNC, and Charles was on that team.
No, he got cut. He got cut. I mean, he was part of the trials, but he got cut.
Sorry. He was right. He was in the trials. He was going to be on that team. And so Charles makes a joke because Bobby Knight was the head coach, George was the assistant, and Bobby was so on time, right? If you're not 5 minutes early, you're late kind of thing. And so one day Bobby shows up late, and Charles gives him some grief, and he says something like, something about the shoes he had on, and Bobby says, you know why donkeys don't go to college, Charles? Because nobody likes a smartass. Right? So we get the idea. And Michael Jordan's telling this story on camera in the film. And he goes, the next day, Bobby told George, you got to cut Charles Barkley. Yeah. Imagine.
Yeah.
Then Michael says, if not for George, there were 7 black players on that team who were trying out for that team. He said, if not for George, we'd have all gone home.
Wow. Well, yeah, I mean, the word was Barkley was either the best or second best player in the trials. And Bobby Knight was trying to instill discipline in the rest of them. And that was part of cutting Barkley, but everyone knew it was kind of a farce because Barkley was amazing. Well, it's an amazing story you're presenting here. Mike, let me ask you this. For those that cannot attend tonight at Villanova, Where will people be able to see this in the coming days, weeks, and months?
Well, we're gonna be on Turner during the tournament. Maybe I'll come back with you guys during March Madness, and I can give you guys the actual, airtime, and everybody can TiVo it or watch it, because it's really worth seeing, especially with a Philly sports fan perspective. He is really the OG.
That's awesome. And final thing, Mike, I just want to make sure, because we can't get this answer. George Raveling passed away, not too long ago, but he would not agree with Seltzer that the Phillies get an F for the offseason, right? I mean, they did sign a player that hit 56 homers.
They got worse. It's great. Awesome. They got further away from winning the World Series.
Wait a second.
Hey, Mike.
I'm so with you on that, Joe. I mean, it's like, look, we got a closer that we didn't have for most of the season. We got Painter, who we didn't have. We have two guys. We got Crawford coming in, who I think is going to, sooner or later, one of these guys have to really be real and really break. I don't know. I think we get a bad rap. Let's talk about this.
Seltzer gives us the bad rap.
Like, do you realize? Well, yes, I'm surprised at James. Like, James, they're going to pay with the luxury tax and with the $5 million buyout. He's leaving after a year. We know that. They're going to pay $90 million for 1 year of Bo Bichette, who's never hit 30 home runs
I think the Mets contract is nonsense. I'm with you. I think the Mets contract is so silly, and I wouldn't have wanted them to give it. But, they just got worse this offseason. What am I supposed to do? Like, I agree with you. They're one of the better teams in the league, and they can compete. But they lost Ranger Suarez, and they didn't get better.
That could be true, but they still got a good shot.
They got a better Luzardo.
I don't know. Luzardo pitched the most innings he pitched in his life last year by miles. We don't know.
Isn't Bryce motivated?
Well,
sure.
Hopefully.
According to Rob Thompson, more motivated than ever.
Mike, here's where I'm going to end with this. And first off, congrats on the documentary and good luck tonight. All that. I'm going to end with this.
Thanks, Joe.
I'm going to my boss after the show. Seltzer out. Mike Tollin in.
Oh yeah, I'm sure Mike would want to come in every morning. Mike, you want to wake up at 3 every morning and come in here?
Mike
gets to work with such amazing.
I'm moving back from LA. I miss the snow.